Hey guys, Forsaken Reality here. In this video I'll be showing you how to integrate our prone component into a third-person template. So without further ado, we'll begin setting that up. First thing you're going to want to do is install the plugin, and once that's done, you'll just want to enable it by coming into your plugins, so either searching up prone or clicking other and ticking this and restarting your engine. Now once that's done, you'll want to go into your character blueprint. So whatever your character blueprint is. I'm just going to change the mesh to Manny. And once in here, we want to change our parent class to the DPL character, which will give us a new character component, a movement component. And we're basically all the same things. You can adjust these however you want, but the main things we'll get out of here is our prone half height, which allows us to smoothly adjust our capsule half height and also relocate our character. We'll also want to stay in our character, and we will want to add our prone component to the character. This will handle all the prone movement and tracing and things like that. And once we have that done, we will want to come into the plugin. You'll notice there's two folders. One for the content folder, so I want to come into the content, and then the demo character. And we'll get a few things out of here. Basically everything that's in the blue is specific to the prone component itself. First thing you'll notice is there's two inputs that aren't set up here, so you want to come into your project settings, input, and we'll just add two quickly. Roll right and roll left. Left will be Q and right is E. You can change those to whatever you like. Those are fixed now. So first thing, I'm just going to move this over because it allows me to toggle first and third person. It's just a debug, really. And you'll want the mesh. This is not anything you need to do, that's too important. But if you want the camera attached to your head and a first and third person toggle that works just quickly, then this will work. And we'll also want to, on our character, I'm going to toggle this, which will allow our camera to rotate with our character. This is just a better experience for first person specifically, or you don't want your camera rotating separately from your character for whatever reason. So first we will deal with just moving over the custom inputs, since we don't need to do anything here, but just copy and paste these over. And those should just work fine. And we'll do our jump. So copy everything in the blue out of the jump. Paste that in there with Control V, Control C to copy. Prone is false. And we'll want to be able to jump, but if we're prone, we obviously don't want jump to happen. and right, left. So I'll grab all this. Just gonna pull this over here. So basically, if we're prone, we'll do our prone movement, and if not, we'll do whatever your normal default movement input is. Any other input values will continue here. And I'll smooth this over a little more, because we're going to need our forward and backward. Paste that in, and I'll also get my forward and backward right here. Just break that. That in, plug the false into there. Put these three down below. And there we go. Same thing as the left and right. You have your prone check. If you're prone, you'll do your prone movement. If not, just the default movement. Let's put it back in its box here. So that's jumping done, prone movement done. And if you're going to be using the turn in place for your prone, you'll also want the turn left and right inputs. Let's turn left and right. And up and down. You can organize this better yourself, since this won't take the extra time to sit here organizing it, extending this video farther than it really needs to be. Should be pretty easy to organize that. I believe that's all of the inputs here moved over. We also want to make one adjustment to our prone turn. So you want to click on that function that you added to your character right here for turn left and right for prone turn, and then I'll bring it to the component right here. You want to get your AnimBP, convert to pure. We don't have this value yet, so I'm just going to leave this like this for now. We'll come back and just quickly replace that after we do the AnimBP. So now we'll just go retarget the prone AnimBP to our characters. So you want to go into your plugins, content, prone component, and animations, and there's this prone AnimBP right here. And you want to target, duplicate, retarget animation blueprint. And before we do that, actually, we need to come into our characters, mannequin UE4, wherever your rig is. We'll need the UE4 to UE5 rig setup. So we will want to come into our meshes and the UE4 mannequin that it's set up for, and compatible skeletons, so because they're basically the same, that allow us to retarget our animations to UE5. We'll need that after. So now we can come into our prone AnimBP and retarget UE4 to UE5. And we'll change our folder location. I'm just going to make a new folder in here called prone target RTG. And no, I won't put a prefix in there, I'll just target that. So we have most of our animations here, except for a couple I believe are missing the rolling and enter and exit. But that won't be too difficult to get. So first we have our prone anim BP here. And we have a rifle anim layer. That's just a test that I had set up for the rifle. We can just disable that for now. So we won't need that, but that's how you would basically blend in an upper body pose to your prone. So your these two bones, and this will allow you to blend your arms. So you want to add aiming or something like that to the prone system. And you just add your rifle layer or whatever state you want to do. So we have our prone all set up here. And now we want to go to our main anim BP and make some adjustments there. So for this, I'm using the anim blueprint for Manny. First off, I'll come over into the anim graph. Right here, I'm just going to break that and move this up. Main state pose. Just so that's a little separated. And then I'm going to come over to the animation blueprint in the DPL prone component. And in the anim graph here, just copy this, paste it in. You'll notice an error there, but as soon as we set our prone like that, right click and create this variable, and that'll work. And we'll also grab this. Don't need the default slot, there's already one in there. We'll want that, so we will put that at the end here. And in the defaults, we will just put our main pose as our locomotion, and from prone we'll put our prone, obviously. And we'll also create this stance variable. So right now it's just triggering, running through that. So now we'll need a way to send it from our character. So in our event graph, we can just come over to our event graph in here, and our third person anim BP for the prone component, and copy these two. Paste those right here. And we will right click on this prone component and create that reference. And there's already a character reference that we can just replace this one with. I'll add a pin to that. Plug it in. And we'll also want to add a new function, turn in place. We'll head back to our and a BP for the prone system, and in the turn in place function, we'll just copy this whole thing, paste that in, and we'll go through this now. Local variables are named local, so it makes it a little easier to deal with. Plug this into there, and that will be a character reference, and we'll create this variable as a normal variable, and this one's a local, so we'll create local variable. Another one, create local variable. Speed is already exists as ground speed. Local turning, local variable, and another local variable, and a normal variable. Local variables means it just exists inside this function, so once we leave this function, they're not used for anything else other than setting values inside here, just for temporarily storing data, so we don't need to like have this plugged in and have lines going everywhere. Another local, 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 create variable, create local variable. I believe that's all of them. So that's the turn in place, and we will just simply drag that out here. Plug in our character reference. Compile and save. And that should be it for the event graph for now. Now we'll go retarget our missing montages. So we have our enter and exit and our rolling. So we will want to go to our, you can either right click them or to duplicate and retarget them, or a faster way is your for your UE4 mannequin. This is why we shared the animations to this skeleton, whichever skeleton you're using for retargeting from UE4 to UE5 using this. And we'll want to get our animations for prone to stand. Hold control and click this one, stand the prone, and then hold control and just click these other two for rolling. We'll also want these 4 montages. So we have this one, these 3, and these 4. And we'll export, we'll just put those into a new folder in here. Call that montage retarget. That's inside the prone folder. So we know they're the prone animations. And I'll put those in there. And we'll just want to check our animations here for, make sure the notifies are all set in those. And we can save all that. And we want to come into here. And set our enter prone. We are stand up prone retargeted and our exit prone. Prone to stand. and I didn't have these set up, but they will be there when you go to look here. You'll roll left and roll right, and you'll just want to place the roll left to the retargeted one, and the roll right to the retargeted right one. Compile and save. And we can also go to our input graph, which is right there, and the prone turn. If you're using the turn in place, then we can get the root yaw offset and just replace that right here like this. And that is it for the animations, I believe. I think there's some adjustments to the turn in place we'll need to do, but that we'll do after. Alright, so if we test right now, we should be at this point. There's actually something we missed with the forward input, which I'll show you in 1 minute, but you can see that all the animations are playing. And everything works like that. But what we missed was in the third person character in the event graph. On our input right here, we forgot to actually plug in the world direction for the move forward and backwards. So you want to make sure you have that plugged in. So now we test things out. Character will crawl. You can go in the first person and test it out. B, if you added that input. It's full body first person. We make our animations because that's just the way we like our animations for our own system. So that's the movement there. If you're not using the turn in place, then you're pretty much done. But if you are, we will set that up now. So for this, we need to fix our rotation curves. So you'll notice that if you go in and you try to rotate, your character won't actually rotate in place. I'll just do this, just to kind of stay in place. The fix for this will be, we're going to go into our turning animations. You'll notice that these have different names. So you want to first go into add curve and look for the if I can find it. Seems like it's not there. So you want to just click this once and type in rotation. Yeah. And turn in place. These are used by our function in the event graph. In our AnimBP's event graph, turn in place function. And we'll want to do the same for our other one. I think this is the one that has the curve already created, and you gotta do a couple of weird things. Yep. Rotation, yeah. Delete this one, I think. Nope. Delete. Let us rename it so we add the curve, rotation, yeah. Remove curve. Maybe that wasn't it. Remove this one. So ignoring that, I'm just going to remove them all, add curve, rotation yaw, select that, and we should have our modifier up here. And we'll also want to remove this, add curve, turn in place. Do that. Add curve. Nope. I don't think I'll let me rename this one. Place. No, SGO. It's a little weird getting getting these switched out. I don't know why it does this. I'm just going to come in here and just copy this value, come in here, paste it. And there we go. So we have that in the turn in place, the rotation yaw. We can just come up here and apply a modifier, click yes. And that didn't seem to do what I was looking for it to do. Okay, so basically what you want to do in here is come in here for the second one, add turn in place. And from there you want to rename this one once you have it in there to turn in place. Then remove one and then Control Z or edit and undo to get that back, and now you'll have one turn in place. And the same thing for this one, you can do it. This one should actually be the rotation yaw. So I messed up. And my engine crashes one moment. So now you want to come in here to your prone turn right, your second animation. Sorry about that, it's just a little weird doing this. It's weird that it breaks this and you have to readjust it, and has a few little weird things about it. So you want to get your rotation yaw, and your distance apex should be rotation yaw. Then we can remove that and Control Z. There we go. Now we have that one. Just test out things. I might need to regenerate the curves. You can, yep. So to fix that, you want to come up here to your animation data modifier. If you don't have that, come in here and you can open that window right there. And apply all modifiers, yes. And we'll want to do that for the other one. Apply all modifiers, yes. And this seems to be an issue for the right. Ah, that's probably why. Forgot our turn in place. Doing the same thing here, turn in place. Move that newly added one, Control Z. There we go. Now our curves are working properly. It's a little odd setting those up and getting them working, because just probably because the system's not handling them. Probably some adjustments later on will allow them to be converted over and not have their names adjusted and have to do all this weird stuff to get them working again. Also noticed we need to set up our crouching quickly, so I'll also do that, since if you already have crouching in your game, then you won't need to do that. It should work fine for your own crouching system, but if not, then we will want to just come into our main locomotion here for this, drag out of idle, add state. Let's call that crouched. And we can just simply use the stance from our prone system. Idle to crouched, we'll want to equal crouched. And back to, we'll want our stance again, and not equal crouching. And then we can just come back to our anim graph. And on the stance input, crouched, changed its blend to 0. And we'll just copy the main state pose because that's where the crouched input is. Plug that in. And we'll also want to set an animation, so we can just come into our third person anim BP and go over to our anim graph. This is for the prone system. I have a test prone here with some test animations in the component that we can use, or in the plugin. And we'll come into our locomotion, crouched motion, Control V, and we will replace speed with ground speed, and there is no direction actually by default in the engine if you have your own direction set up already. Then you can use that, and we'll also need to quickly retarget some animations. I believe we should have maybe have some idle animations there. But we'll want to retarget those. So first I'll fix that direction here. So event graph, we'll want to go into our event graph, and we'll just, from the prone system, we'll just grab this right here. We'll set the direction, create this variable, get the character reference that's already in here. Add a new pin. So now we got some issues with these animations, so I'm just gonna browse to this. Duplicate and retarget. UE4 to UE5. We'll change the location to our prone retarget. And I'll just take a new folder and call that crouch retarget inside our prone retarget folder, just for storage purposes. Target, and that should give us all those animations. Come back into our main anim BP. And if you have this selected, an easy way to do it, to input it, is select that, come into here, just click the arrow and that will swap it out for the new one. And browse to this one. Duplicate, retarget, before the UE5, change. I'll put this one also in the crouched retarget folder. And that one should just be selected there. So we want to come back into our main NMBP and replace that one. Now we should have our crouched set up. It's not the best crouch because it's just the testing starter pack animations, the rifle crouches, blending your upper body, whatever your upper body is. But it allows you to go into your prone, do your rolling, if you press Q and E, and you can stand back up. And one final test, we'll go into our plugins, content, demo, map, and open up this map. Montage. Oh, forgot the switch. We're not using that character anymore. So we actually want our character. And we should be able to roll in under there. And everything works fine. We'll have our prone collision. You can't roll through walls. Can't rotate into a wall or put your legs in a wall or anything like that. Keeps you pushed away from the wall. And yeah, everything is working. So that'll be everything for this video. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to hop into our Discord and ask those or post in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next video.